Landslides in Kerala's Wayanad district have killed nearly 90 people and injured scores of others. Triggered by torrential rains over the past couple of days, the disaster struck the hilly areas near Meppadi taluk. Several landslides were reported in Mundakai and Chooralmala villages under Meppadi Panchayat. Multiple bodies were recovered from the Chaliyar river in Malappure's Nilambur region, about 20 to 25 kilometers away from the disaster point. Many have been feared to be further washed away downstream. Wayanad. Wayanad is the only plateau in Kerala, forming a continuation of the Mysore Plateau, which is part of the larger Deccan Plateau in the Indian Peninsula region. The Kabini River, a tributary of the Kaveri, originates in Wayanad. The Chaliyar River, which is the fourth longest river in Kerala, also originates in the Wayanad Plateau. And in the recent times, Wayanad has become the go-to summer holiday destination for the nearby city dwellers. As of right now, rescue efforts are facing obstacles as the main bridge leading to Mundakkai village has collapsed in this landslide. The Indian Army and Navy teams, along with National Disaster Response Force, have already been deployed to assist in the rescue operations. But this is not the first disaster to hit Kerala, and neither it is the first landslide in Wayanad. In 2019, a landslide hit the Pudumala and Pachakad region, about 5 kilometers from today's disaster point. 17 people were killed in that disaster. And today, in another 1 week, it will be the 5-year anniversary of the Pudumala landslide tragedy. Kerala is prone to heavy rains and flooding, with an estimated 14.5% of land area seen as vulnerable. It is the same tale almost every year for this southern state. But why is Kerala and Wayanad in particular prone to flooding and landslides? I am joined by Jusha Surya, a journalist who is reporting from Kerala, to discuss this with me. Welcome, Jusha.
Thank you, Prita.
Hello, Jusha. Can you?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jusha. Welcome to SoSouth.
Thank you. Thank you, Prija.
Jusha, as you know, the disaster struck early this morning, and while everybody was sleeping, almost entire 2 villages have been washed away in this landslide. And considering the number of death toll, the number of death that is the death toll that is rising over and over again at a speed that is unthinkable for us, it makes this disaster one of the worst ones in Kerala today. Now, Jusha, what is the current situation as of right now that you have of today's tragedy?
Yes, Kerala woke up to one of the worst tragedies of its history. In the morning when everyone realized that there was a major landslide in Wayanad, no one expected that it to be such a major natural calamity because it happened. The first landslide happened at Mundakkai village in Wayanad, and by around 1 p.m. and it was followed by another in a closer village very soon by around 3:30 a.m. And this happened in the midst of night, as we know. By the morning, the rescue operation started, but by the time when the visuals came, we know that an entire village has been washed away. It's not just the one village; multiple villages were washed away in this tragedy. And initially the death toll was was slowly rising, and now it has touched around 88, and it is definitely this toll will go up, because now this army has just started the rescue operation in one of the stranded area in Mundakkai, and so there is one of where the first landslide happened. So there are a lot of people, a lot of villagers where are reportedly are buried under the soil, and the rescue operation have started around 14 hours after the tragedy struck the area. So it is definitely, this death toll is likely to go up, and this is starting to be one of the worst tragedies in Kerala. And the state has declared a 2-day official mourning on 30th and 31st. And this is the area, Wayanad, as we know, has been prone to landslides, but even the last one, the last worst one was in 2019 at Puttumala, and that time again an entire village was washed away in that tragedy. But the death toll was 17. Now it is going up, and now it is 88 in this tragedy that happened in Mundakai. And the tragedy, the sad part is that the rescue operation is a huge challenge, a risk for even the Kerala government has immediately alerted and requested the union government seeking support, and they immediately sent the NDRF and Indian Army and Navy. Everyone reached the spot, but this place was totally difficult to reach, because one of the major and only bridge connecting this place has been washed away in this disaster. And so we have seen visuals of how the NDRF team and the army officials are trying all options. Even the chopper, they had sent the chopper, but because of the weather issues, it couldn't reach the place. And they are trying to, they have even convened the Madras engineering group of the army from Bengaluru to construct a temporary bridge to reach the area. Meanwhile, other team like NDRF team are using other measures to reach the place. So first team arrived there by noon, but still more team has to reach there to rescue the people from that place. And other than that, there are other people who are stuck in the upper areas of this place. There are resorts in the upstream of this place. So there are hundreds of people, tourists and as well as local people, are stuck there, and there are a lot of people, injured people as well in this place. So the rescue operations has to start immediately, but it's a huge challenge. Even I know it's not the death of rescue persons, the army and NDRF, everyone has reached there, but it's still, the connectivity is a huge challenge.
Jisha, I'm going to pause you, interrupt you there to ask you. So you mentioned the 2019 landslide, in which there were 17 deaths that we know of, and according to the Google Maps and all, that Pudumala, the last disaster, the 2019 disaster, which in fact the anniversary of it is on August 8th coming up. 5-year anniversary of that disaster is coming up on August 8th. That is about 5 kilometers away from today's disaster point. Is that correct?
Yes, these are all in the same area, and if I'm not wrong, these are in the same Panchayat Meppadi. So this area, we know that Wayanad is an ecologically fragile area and is prone to a lot of landslides. And one of the worst happened in, as you mentioned, in 2019 August, where this tragedy hit Puttumale, where this entire village was washed away in that tragedy, and that time the death toll was 17. And very close to that place, but in Malappuram district, it is the neighboring district, Kavalapara. In that year itself, in 2019 August, a few days after Puttumala tragedy, another tragedy struck that place, which is close to this Wayanad and Malappuram. As you know, it's very the neighboring districts. So close to Wayanad, this another tragedy at Kavalapara happened, and that time the death toll was 60. And many bodies are yet to be recovered from that incident. So this place, this has the history of very ecologically fragile, as well as it's prone to landslides and landslips. And as you mentioned in the intro, but in 2018 alone, over 270 or I think 278 landslides and landslips have happened in Wayanad district alone. So this area, its landslides are very common. Even before this in tragedy, yesterday some alerts were sounded, and some people had in fact shifted to safer areas. But their lives could be saved, but their entire thing, their properties and their houses, everything got damaged. But now the worst part is that this small portion of land, Mundakkai and chooralmala, hundreds of persons. We still don't know the the
Correct.
intensity
We
of
don't
this
know the
tragedy
amount. We
is
don't know
to,
the exact amount
yeah,
of.
yeah,
We do not
how
know
many
how
people
many
are
people are
missing.
missing, how many
Yeah,
people are have gone missing, how many people are buried under the debris, how
right.
many people have been washed away. Because from the information that we have so far, the bodies that have been found are the ones that have the initial bodies were found 20-25 kilometers away in the Chalaya river
Right.
near the Nilambur region, which is almost 25 to 30 kilometers away from the disaster point, which means that much water, the water current actually took those many people along with it. And that's where we found out. So we don't even know how many people are actually buried at the disaster point when where the landslide has occurred itself. Now, coming back to the point, why exactly is it now that the in the past, I understand when you say Wayanad is an ecologically sensitive region, but there must be something specific that has happened in the past 5 to 10 years where because of which the number of disasters, natural disasters, these kind of calamities, these kind of landslides, torrential rain, and these kind of natural disasters have again and again struck the same area. Because as you said, very rightly pointed out, these are the areas which is where regularly it's become like a commonplace incident over there right now, where people are just, so there must be a reason behind it. Why is Wayanad becoming so prone to landslides?
That is the question that we keep on asking. For the past few years, this has been this natural calamity has become a regular thing. For example, in 2018, since 2018, we have been seeing back-to-back landslides and natural calamities, especially in Wayanad. So there are multiple factors. One major factor is, of course, Wayanad, as we know, is an ecologically fragile area. But the triggering factor is the heavy rainfall. In Kerala, particularly for the past few years, the southwest monsoon period has been a very unpredictable, has turned very unpredictable. Because unlike in the past, when Kerala has this the monsoon period that starts from June, then continues till July, and August and September. Now, at that time we know that the high intensity rainfalls happen during the first 2 months, and the intensity reduces in the next 2 months, and it retreats after that. But now, what we have seen in the past few years that the duration that we are not getting the continuous rainfall. Instead, high intensity, short period rainfall are happening. And that is a lot of climate experts are attributing this to the global warming, especially that heating up of Indian Ocean, and such things are contributing to this heavy intensity rainfall, and that is a trigger. But that is when the high intensity rainfall is a trigger. There are other natural, human interventions that need to be addressed. For example, in Wayanad, studies have shown that most of the around 90% of this landslides happen in areas where the slopes are 20 to 30 degrees above. The slope is 20 degree or above. So there needs to be proper classification in terms of land use pattern, or agriculture, or construction of buildings, or other development activities in this area. The land must be properly classified, where we can allow construction, where we can allow plantation, or the agriculture, where the quarrying should be prohibited, where mining should be prohibited. There must be proper classification in this area. That is the thing that should be addressed. And considering this heavy, high-intensity rainfall pattern that Kerala is witnessing, especially in Western Ghats, areas in Western Ghats, and Wayanad being the southernmost tip of Deccan Plateau, this area is very prone to this kind of landslides, and soil piping is another factor that Wayanad is known prone to. So where if we look at the terrain, it might look very normal outside, but inside it might be hollow. So after receiving high intensity rainfall, it will start to collapse, and it can wash away. It has the potential to wash away entire area. So acres of area, hectares of area, it can wash away. So that is one problem. That these are the multiple problems, and as we know, there are a lot of studies that happened after especially after the floods, which attributed that this to human interventions like quarrying or plantations. For example, after Puthumala, there was studies that rubber plantations cannot be allowed in such areas because the trees cannot hold the soil. So that are multiple factors that need to be addressed. After 2019, multiple landslides, the government had imposed a lot of restrictions on quarrying and mining activities in these areas, and also on construction of roads and highways. There must be proper studies on what are the causes that triggered this particular incident. But heavy rainfall is one, but that is the trigger. And other the factors which make it a major tragedy is other human activities.
Mentioned that the susceptibility of susceptibility of Wayanad as a region because of the increased commercialization, increased plantation in the area, and Western Ghats, which is actually a very ecologically sensitive region as such. Now, I have a report here that says an expert, according to experts, 13 out of the 14 districts in Kerala are already susceptible to landslide. The only exception is Alappuzha. And this is according to a report in the week. Also, the Kerala State Disaster Management Authority, KSDMA, has identified 1,848 square kilometer area, that is about 4.75% of the state's total area, as high landslide hazard zone. Now, Jisha, what I would like you to discuss with me is that how has Kerala, being a agriculturally sound, more environmentally conscious state, become or come to this particular extent where we have almost 5% of our entire state, has a high landslide hazard zone, and then 13 out of the 14 districts altogether are being called as susceptible to landslide, which means somewhere the soil itself, the environment has, or the large scale development in the state has somehow not been in agreement or in tandem with making it ecologically safe as well. Jisha?
Yes. Yes, that if we take the example of the Kerala has a long stretch of Western Ghats. So even if without the absence, if there is development activities or not, it is still as ecologically fragile zone, a large part of Kerala. So we know this Kerala has 3 different zones, and one side it is the highlands, the high range areas where this Western Ghat part is there, and that area is highly ecologically sensitive zone. So we have the studies conducted by Madhav Ghat, the expert panel of Western Ghats ecology expert panel headed by Madhav Ghatgil, which conducted a study in 2011, which categorized these areas as ecologically sensitive zones where you cannot allow quarrying and a lot of other activities. A lot of activities were prohibited. He suggested prohibition of a lot of activities considering the ecological fragility or the sensitivity of this area. But that was followed by huge protests because a lot of people live in this area. So it cannot be considered as a very, a forest area where people are living in this area. So naturally, a lot of protests happened, and so both the state government and union government did not support this recommendations of this panel.
I agree with you, Jisha. Over there, see, it's more, but then that's precisely the point, right? Where when government, be it government or the people of Kerala who had started making huge noise, had protested Madhav Ghatgil's report, which was the 2011 Western Ghats Ecologically Expert Panel's report, which had classified most of Idukki and Wayanad districts as the category 1 under the eco-sensitive zones, which means that they were highly vulnerable, and forest land in these areas should not be used for agricultural or non-forest activities. Now, after that, Kasturirangan report also, the Kasturirangan report kind of, reduced the ecologically sensitive region, and even that was not much acceptable. Yet, those protests are coming home to roost today, though because we can see the aftermath of it in these disasters which are happening every year. Now, do you think the Kerala government should or could have done something differently at that time instead of just protesting it? And let's just discuss, and more than that, let's discuss the Madhav Gadgil report itself. It had put into consideration almost 75% of the entire Western Ghats region, which includes Goa, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Kerala, and even parts of Tamil Nadu, which is where Western Ghats are situated. That 75% of that area was ecologically sensitive. So which means the humans living there, even for their own safety, they should have somehow managed to live in tandem with the environment rather than looking at the large scale development. Now, do you think what can be the other way to go forward from this point onwards, where this disaster has struck so many times already, especially in Wayanad?
Yes, especially in Wayanad, you have to consider the areas which are ecologically sensitive. You have to classify this according to, and if a Gadgil report or Kasturirangan report is not acceptable to the public, it is difficult to implement because ultimately there are people living there. So there has to be some consensus. People has to be taken into confidence, telling that their life or property has to be, the safety has to be ensured for their life and property, and you cannot totally ignore everything, and they have to be taken into account. Their suggestions has to be taken into account, and especially this is important, like if areas where this slope is more than 20% or 20 degree or 30 degree, there what kind of activities you can allow. For example, quarrying in such areas, you have to prohibit it totally, and the government or the district administration has to, take proper action against that. So wherever which this areas has to be classified proper in such a way that if the areas which cannot be, categorized as where this quarrying or mining or even construction of roads or buildings, if that cannot be allowed in such areas, that has to be implemented in whatever way possible. And only if you give compensation to people, enough compensation, and whatever kind of if they are compensated well, they would have adjust to whatever changes. If you can't just ask people to shift from an ecologically fragile area if they are born and raised there. So whatever compensation you need to displace people from very fragile areas, that need to be given. Even if you take for the example of Kavalapara landslide area, even it took years to shift those people from that area even after the disaster, because people have nowhere to go. Kerala is such an dense, high density state. People are, it's everywhere there is human habitation, apart from that entire dense forest. So we are seeing reports of human animal conflict every other day. So we have to take people into confidence. There must be proper discussions and take them into account, their suggestions into account, and make them aware of the impacts of this. Because these kind of tragedies we can't afford anymore. This kind of huge death tolls we can't afford. The kind of property damage we can't afford. So they must be given proper awareness. Proper consultations should happen, and there must be proper studies on what kind of agriculture should be done in particular area, what should be avoided. Yes, it is a lot of those things were included in Kasturirangan and Gadgil report, and that has to be bring into more discussions for more public consultation. And I think a lot of people have understood that there is need for a change, especially after the 2018 flood. So the situation that happened in 2018 has changed a lot. People are a lot aware of the nature's fury. We are back to back getting lessons. So I think people are more sensitized now. At least I think so. So there might be a lot of this. There must be a lot of discussions, and there must be more awareness and compensation, and people should be taken into confidence to address this issue, because we don't have much time left. This is happening every year. So experts must come in and have proper discussion with the public, and more than politics or anything, state and union governments should take proactive stand on that.
So, Jisha, we were talking about the land usage, proper classification of land usage in Wayanad. So, from our understanding so far, the land usage in Wayanad, the land usage pattern in Wayanad in the past few months have become in a way where the actual forest area is being now converted into plantations, which somehow somewhere is affecting the ecology, at least the soil ecology over there, because it is loamy, it is laterite, it does not hold very well if it does not have deep rooted trees to stay over there. Now because now if you really look at it, there are tea plantations over there, there are cocoa plantations, there are coffee plantations coming up in Wayanad. Do you think this change of land use from proper forest area to plantation, so that people can have earn a living off these areas, and considering Wayanad is also a tourist spot, turning most of these forest areas into resorts as well, does that have anything to do with making it even more environmentally susceptible to natural calamities? Could that be one of the reasons for the recurring landslides in Wayanad now?
Definitely, by human activity, I meant all this, because Wayanad is also known for its beautiful hills and valleys and rivers, and so a lot of tourism activities are happening. Lots of resorts are coming up there, and it's known for its plantation crops, be it tea and rubber. A lot of plantation crops cultivations are happening there. So it's happening over several decades that this place is changing a lot. Wayanad got its name from Wayanad, which means land of paddy fields, but there is a large part of it is it has dense forest. In fact, a huge part of Wayanad is dense forest. But and it is also not for the tribal population. But now things have a lot of this has changed, and it's a lot of its peculiarities, like the Nool Mara, which is thread-like rain of the peculiarity of Wayanad. Such things have changed. So there is climate change. Of course, that's a reason, but also human intervention is very important. If plantation crops like rubber plantation cannot be allowed in such land, such soil, laterite soil, as you mentioned, it is prone to landslides. So if rubber cultivation is not possible, then there must be proper proactive measures to change that. And if there are resorts in ecologically fragile areas, that should be addressed properly. And yes, definitely the development, Kerala, especially if you look at this, is high density. The density of population is very huge that you don't have enough land here. So how to address it is, that we should have taken the lessons from 2018 and start out our work from that time itself. But it is high time.
Jisha, we have discussed the reason for the landslide and why Wayanad is prone to landslides, and have had these spate of like an annual spate of these things because of the climate change, the change in the pattern of land usage over there. Before, I think we should also kind of give the viewers a little bit of more of the current situation over there. You had started with the NDRF, the rescue mission itself, going there almost 13 to 14 hours after the disaster hit, because it was unapproachable. The area itself was unapproachable. Now, is there any movement, any happy news that the viewers can see? If there is any movement towards rescue, are there the debris being cleared off? Some of the missing people being found? Have some of the more rescue information come in?
Yes, it's a very big relief that the army team and NDRF team has reached Mundakai, because earlier we know that it was totally impossible to reach there. So army team has reached, and they have reached the place where hundreds of people were stranded. So that's a great relief. But there are worrying trends, like now the death toll has risen to 90, and government figures say that 98% are missing. So imagine how this is going to end up in the next few hours. So it may be death toll is likely to go up, because the incident happened by around 1 a.m. On June 13th. So we know how this is going to turn up, because if people are stranded, trapped under the soil, so many hours, golden hours have passed, because this place was not, the connectivity was a major issue. At least, but it is a relief now that the army team could reach Mundakai, because that was the area where the first landslide was reported, and they have met hundreds of people stranded there, and also the NDRF team and the army team have reached to other places also. So the next few hours will be a huge challenge, because the rain has not stopped, and the India Meteorological Department has given red alert to this area. So the high intensity rain is continuing. Yesterday was the day when the 24-hour rainfall was the highest in Kerala in this monsoon season. So especially in Wayanad, the rainfall was, in 24-hour rainfall was around 400 millimeter and 370 millimeters in this particular areas. So the heavy rainfall is a huge challenge, and it's going to be dark in this very soon. So that is another challenge. But it's a huge relief that Army and Navy and NDRF team has reached there, and also reached this particular the areas where landslides began. So a rescue operation is still a huge challenge.
Okay, Jisha, I think considering we are still waiting for more information to come in from the CMO, the NDRF, the DRO over there, who are present there to do for the rescue mission, and considering rescue operation is also ongoing, so that finally that Mundakai has been able to be approached after Indian Army and Navy team have visited there. Let's hope that we can actually at least figure out how many people have been, or an estimate of number of people that are missing or can be rescued in this landslide that occurred somewhere little after midnight. Two separate landslides, one at 1 a.m. and another one a couple of hours later, is what has triggered this one of the deadliest landslides in Kerala's history. The visuals of there are visuals that are distressing. The amount of destruction that the mud and the river and the water has left in its wake is staggering. Even right now, the officials are also not able to confirm the amount, the number of deaths, or the number of properties that have been destroyed in this landslide, because they do not know the scale of this particular disaster as of yet. Let's hope that the volunteers are able to save as many people as possible. I am Prija Arvind, and please keep tuned into SoSouth for update on this developing story.